And I am awake. Welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I'm so happy that you are here. And hello, I am Liz from Soul and Self Collective with my husband.
And I'm Scott.
Yeah. And we are married family therapist trainee, and I'm a baby shaman. And this is my Husha, aka shaman assistant.
Yes.
And wow, this week has been really difficult. Just, everyday life things that I'm not going to go into detail, but, even though we do this, we still life outside of this, what we share with you guys. And today we're going to talk about dreams. And I know that quite a bit of people has chimed in and shared that dreams isn't something that is really talked about in their support group, such as like maybe their grandma, their parents, or their relatives. It's a very much hush hush kind of thing. And I have to agree. So growing up, I would always tell my dreams to like my grandma or my parents, and guarantee all of them will always say, don't worry about it. Basically meaning, don't worry about it. Essentially, it's the same thing. And so, but then the only time I ever gotten something that was somewhat of like curiosity or of concern was when my mom shared, let me know if you dream of a white horse, because apparently if you dream of a white horse, it means death that's going to come to the family. Or white horse signifies that it's coming to pick up a soon to be unalive relative. And so that's what the horse is there for, in case if someone dreams of a white horse. And that's when she's like, let me know if that ever happens. And so I'm like, okay. And
That leads me to a question. I have a question.
okay, what?
When your grandma was dying, did you ever dream of a white horse?
No.
Fair.
But let's talk about dreams. So there's dreams is so personal. Okay. It really is. And it it has that, it depends on what it means to you. And so what I'm going to share about what these dreams mean to me, they are my interpretation, and of course some with consultation with my sifu and whatnot. These are based on my dreams, and take what you will from it, and hopefully it does help you interpret your own dreams and what it means, and maybe it might give you a boost of courage to go seek out shamanic services for you to interpret your dream and see if it's more than what you dream about and it's actually spiritually related. And so the first thing that I want to talk about is premonition. Okay, so there's people who will dream and it is actually premonition. And so, oh, this is like very vulnerable for me because I had a dream back in 2019, 2020. It was before COVID, like literally right before COVID. And I remember dreaming of my grandma, my she's my paternal grandma. And I dreamt that we were in this auditorium and she was sitting right next to me. And there, up on stage, there was um, a lot of like Asian people, but one of them stood out particular to me. She looked like the in-laws from, so my grandma's daughter, my aunt, she married to somebody in Wisconsin, and her in-law, the mom, is really close with, I guess, my grandma. And so, but she had passed. I've never met this person before in my life. I've seen pictures of her, but I've never met her. And in that dream, she was on that stage and she was telling my grandma, la bei moi, and that basically means, come, let's go, come on. And I looked at my grandma and she started to stand up and she was going to comply and go with um, that person. And I held my grandma's hand. I was like, wait, don't go. Like stay here with me. It's not your time yet. And then my grandma was like, oh, okay. And so she sat back down. But then what had happened was that the in-law grandma lady, she was just like, come on, let's go, let's go. Love moi, join, love moi. And then I woke up and then I was so bewildered by it. And this is well before like shaman was even in like my radar, my path,
Back when you were still avoiding
back when I
it.
was still my human's mundane mindset, very narrow, right? And narrow is not even like the right word to describe it. When I haven't woken up yet, and I'll just put it that way, it captures everything easier. And I was so alarmed by it because I've never dreamt of anybody who had died before. On top of that, that person telling my grandma to go with them, and my grandma was still alive then. And so I told that dream to my grandma and my parents, and they're like, don't worry about it. My grandma was the only one who was like a little perplexed. she was she was like close to 80 by then, and I don't know if this happens with you, but like a lot of Hmong elders, they're always like, I can't wait to die. Like, I just leave me, just throw me in the canal. I don't care what you guys do in my body. I want to die. Like that. They're very dramatic. And so my grandma was like, oh, I can't wait to pass on. Everybody I know is on the other side. I can't wait.
Your grandma was ready to leave for like 15 years.
Yeah. She had it wasn't her time yet. And so it was funny, but she was the only one who was perplexed. She's like, oh. And he said a deceased elder came to try to fetch me. And I was like, yes. And but no one ever really said anything of that. And how this is a premonition type of dream, we'll fast forward to 2023. I had given birth to my son Theo at the hospital, and that's when I was made aware that my grandma was actually in the very same hospital as me. I know, right? My grandma was intubated, and I had just given birth. I had a C-section, and so I was stuck of not knowing what to do because I had just given birth and I didn't want to go down to the intensive care unit because germs and all that stuff with a newborn baby and fresh out of surgery, major surgery. And so, but then Scott, you were so supportive of me that time. And he really encouraged me to go because Scott is so, he's my biggest rock, and he always tells me that just go because I know this is something you'll regret if you don't go through with it.
Yeah.
And so he went and asked the nurse if they could take me to go visit my grandma who was down in the ICU. And they took me through the little secret nurse elevators, and they took me to go see my grandma. And it was such a gut-wrenching thing because when I saw my grandma, she was in a hospital gown. So was I. And I went to her, and she couldn't talk because she was intubated, right? And so I just showed her a picture of my newborn baby, and sorry.
It's okay.
I showed her a picture of my newborn baby, and she couldn't talk, but her, just the eye language, and she was nodding, and she was looking, and she was like, uh, it's for lack of a better word, petting, but then in Hmong we call it pluan. My grandma was pluan, and sorry, how to pray.
It's okay. It's okay.
Nice. Sorry, it's um I haven't really seen my grandma or visit her grave or even talked or even just kind of think about her
Because you're not allowed
since
to.
I've risen, because it's not that I'm not allowed to, it's that it's for my own protection. um the protection is so that the grave spirit of my grandma doesn't come and attach to me, and it's going to cause its own headache. And anyways, so back to the story. I was showing my grandma, and it was just so bizarre that that was the it sounds so cliche, but it actually happened. It was like life and death situation happening at the hospital. I just given birth, my grandma's there, life hanging by a thread. Long story short, she passed away in October later of that year. She didn't pass away at the hospital. She got to do hospice care at with my and stayed with my dad at his home, and she passed away then. Um, so yeah, so that's a premonition dream for me, and I've always like every moment I got with my grandma, I've always treated that as if it would be the last day, because since I was a very young girl, my grandma has always prepped me for her death. She would always rag on me and say, and basically what that means is that one day when I die, you're gonna miss me so much. Oh, I'm not important to anybody, but you must remember me, like that. My grandma was pretty dramatic, but and she's prepped me since I was very little, like maybe 5 or 6. And so, but the premonition dream of relatives calling for her, we'll just say 2020, and she passed away 2023. That's like a 3-year premonition type thing. So take what you will with it. To me, that's just gauging of like time frame of what to look out for. But here's the thing about premonition dream is that you don't know it's premonition until it happens. So the more, I guess, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword now that I think about it. Like, you don't know how long you have, and you're not quite sure what that dream might mean. Like, you have an idea, but how it happens, like, it's still
It's very true. Very
yeah.
true. Don't really know until it happens, and then you're just like, ah. But then once it does happen a few times, you start to get used to, you have that expectation of, oh, like then after it happens like 2 or 3 times, you have a dream, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh no.
Yes. I hope that's not the norm for me, but I haven't had any premonition. Okay, let me take it back. Okay, this kind of touches into another genre of dreams that I want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it in the part with the premonition just because it did kind of come true too, but it has to do with demons. And so, what had happened was I dreamt about my auntie, and she's having a bit of marital issue. That they were on the brink of divorce, and my uncle and her, they were separating and all that jazz, and they did separate. She ended up moving out with just her and her kids, and my uncle went back to his family and whatnot. And during that time, my aunt was going through a really dark time, and Scott and I, we try to be there to the best of our abilities for her. And I would like to think that we did do our best. And
Yeah.
even she shared with us that she really appreciated our care during that time. And why is that important? Because I actually had a dream about her. They were in a house and they were leaving to go to an event, their event. They were getting married, even though they were already married, but they're getting married again. And so um, my uncle was he was in the driver's seat, and my aunt, she was carrying all these boxes, just boxes of things like spoons, forks, napkins, plates, boxes over boxes, and she was just carrying all by herself. And she's at the trunk, and I go up to her, I'm like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to go through with this. And she wouldn't look me in the eye, and she just kept staring at these boxes of things, and she was like, I have to do this. And I was like, no, you don't. And then my uncle in the dream, he heard me and he came around. He's like, oh, why are you carrying all of these things by yourself? And so he's like trying to pretend to help her. And so he's kind of maneuvering those boxes in, and he's like, get in the car, we gotta go. And so they both leave, and I'm just like, she doesn't have to do this. But anyways, in that dream, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go check out downtown. So I was in downtown Sacramento. And if you know where that is, you know, what I'm talking about. Anyways, so I'm walking on the boardwalk and I see my uncle. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be at that event? But he was kind of dazed. Like, I don't know. He was just out of it. And I was like, are you okay? And he was just kind of mumbling. I couldn't make out anything. And I'm just trying to help him, talk him through, like, hey, it's going to be okay. Listen to me. And I'm trying to, say positive affirmations to him. But as I'm saying these positive affirmations to him, I heard a male voice that's basically saying the opposite of what I'm saying. So if I'm saying you can do this, it's whispering to him, you don't got this. This isn't you. You'll never be able to get it. You're not worth it. Like it's just whispering all of these BS to him. And I'm in the dream, I stop focusing on my uncle and I'm kind of zooming out, and I see this European descent looking man in a very nice suit. And it doesn't give a rat's patootie about me, but it's just focusing on my uncle and anything I'm saying. Because as I'm noticing him and saying these things to my uncle, I'm saying these words, the positive affirmation, louder for my uncle to hear. And the more I said positive affirmation, the more that being said the opposite and just kept whispering to his ears, like, he's not a good person. He can't do this. He'll never be worth anything. Like, just really dragging him down.
Yeah.
And I woke up from the dream, and my auntie and him, they're no longer separate. They got back together, and they're going to try to make things work to the best of their abilities. And I know that they can make through with what they have and try to recover and mend what's been broken. But it's going to take both of them to make that work.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a premonition dream that they were going to get back together, that they were going to endure hardship, but they're going to get back together. That was not 3 years. That was maybe a span of
3 months.
Less than 6 months.
Yeah.
Less than 6 months. And so, I don't know, 3 years, 6 months.
It's up in the air.
It's up in the air.
Whatever's ready.
But and I didn't even view that dream as a premonition. To me, I was more focused on that entity speaking with my uncle, and I just knew he had an attachment, but it didn't click and dawn on me that it's probably a premonition with foretelling me that he also has an attachment. Anyways, so yeah, that's premonition. And again, dreams are so personal. Like, you really have to understand what's going on in your life and those around you and how that plays a role. And so,
That's true, because whenever I have a dream and I bring it up to you, you're always asking me very specific questions. Like, what did this person mean to you?
yeah.
What are they trying to show you or trying to tell you? Mm-hmm. Is it a positive? Is it a negative? So you do ask quite a few questions now, and I never know the answers to them. I'm like, that's a good question.
It's really helpful if you have a deep sense of awareness of yourself and those around you, knowing how you honestly feel about those around you and yourself. That will really help guide you of interpreting your dreams. And then another type of dreams that I want to talk about that maybe someone might get a lot is when it was like a month before I raised to my first level, when my teacher came and raised me, I kept getting a bunch of dreams of my relatives coming to see me. So the first one was I was in this type of ceremony, and my relatives who are alive, but it's funny, they were on my dad's side of the family, which makes sense if, well, you may not know, but my ancestral type of guides, they come from my dad's side. And so I'm just having it makes sense moment. So in this dream, all these very much alive in this earthly realm, present tense, they were in my dream and they were doing a ceremony. They were bringing me food, they were bringing me clothes, they were just bringing me a whole bunch of things. And they were moving in a ceremonial type of way. And they were telling me that I have to eat the chicken, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's part of the ritual. And so I'm like, okay. And so I go through with it. And again, it just dawned on me that all of those alive relatives in my dream doing the ceremony, they were from my dad's side of the family. And so to me, that represents that it was my ancestral guides coming to welcome me back and to essentially welcome me into becoming a shaman.
And it's fascinating how they took the form of people that you knew and trusted, so it felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And they were able to have that experience with you feeling comfortable as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And then another really bizarre one that I had was, I'm honestly not sure if they were my ancestors or what, but I remember dreaming, maybe I shared with you a few videos back, but I had a dream that I went to this plaza in Rancho Cordova, and there was a room that had a bunch of tables, and each table was filled with a bunch of shamans, and they were wearing their cap. Their tiho is like down, it wasn't up, and it was down, and they were all just chanting, they were crying, they were talking, it was like a sea of voices, and there were so many shamans. There was black, there was red, and I didn't see any white caps, but I saw a bunch of black caps and some red. And I was just so bewildered because again, these dreams were right before I raised. And I've never once dreamt about shamans before.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I witnessed somebody in their full get up. And yeah, that's a type of ancestral welcoming a person who's becoming a shaman to come back. Okay, and so now I'm going to be sharing about when I dreamt of deceased relatives. So, as you know, what I shared earlier, my grandma, my pa, she's passed away, and I would often dream about her coming to visit me. And in the dream that she comes visit me, she's always supervised. She always has someone with her, and it's someone who's still alive in the present earthly time that's supervising her visit with me. And I remember one time she came and brought me coco, which is crabs, and I'm a huge seafood lover, especially crustaceans. My spirit guides don't like crustaceans; they think it's filthy. But I love crabs, lobsters, shrimps, mussels, oysters. Anyways, I know oysters not a crustacean, but you feel me. And so my grandma, she heard that I was craving crabs. And so she came and brought me these big crabs. And she was like, so it was just basically like, oh, I boiled and steamed these crabs for you to eat. I heard you've been craving them. And so I'm, feeling breaking the crab's arm and whatnot. And before I take a bite, I'm like, you know what? I haven't fed my grandma in a while. I'm like, here, you take the first bite. And so I'm handing it to her. It was such endearing moments. And then I also had other dreams of other deceased relatives besides my grandma and that in-law grandma from Wisconsin. But I also dreamt of Scott's um, maternal grandma, and she had passed away. But it was around the time I was pregnant, and we couldn't attend the funeral. And so I'm not sure it was the night she was buried or it was like a few days after she had passed. But I just remember sleeping and I was like having a normal dream, but in this dream, I wasn't dreaming of anything. It just looked like a big black pitch void. And but his grandma came through, and his grandma, like Scott is fully Caucasian. Okay. And so I've dreamt of his grandma who's this petite
small little white lady.
Yeah, with like little fro.
She did have a little white fro.
Yeah. And so, and she had glasses and everything. And she, again, a black void, and she started to peer through like a horrible vision to me. She was black and white, and she kind of came through, and she looked really excited, like really, really excited. And she was reaching out, trying to grab my belly. She was trying to touch my pregnant belly. Yeah. And I was like, no! I was no! And she was like, like taken aback. And I swear, I could have sworn, and I know I did, I saw Scott's grandpa, who had passed away before her. He had almost like pulled her away and was like kind of lecturing her. And ever since then, I've never seen her. And I was telling that to Scott and his mom, and then his mom was just like, it would be like her dad to lecture your grandma. And so I was just like, oh my God, like, no, don't touch my baby. And then, so we went on a recent trip to LA for a practicum site, and that hotel, it's very beautiful, and it's right next to Huntington Beach. But it's very haunted. I mean, what hotel? Yeah, what hotel isn't haunted? But I mean, it's these spirits there. They're so. I'm trying to figure the right English word to translate, but in Hmong, we say "ta," those ghosts, "ta tininga," and what that means is, those ghosts that they love to bother people. Love to bother people. I think that's an understatement. They are very aware, and they're not doing their own thing. They like to follow people and do things. And so we stay at this 2.5-star at best hotel, usually in San Francisco, but the spirits there, they keep to themselves. They don't bother you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. but they're not annoying like the one at this really nice hotel by Huntington Beach. And so whenever because we stay there for 2 nights, right?
Yeah.
And every night I would almost like have a sleep paralysis kind of moment, but it's just I'm waking up but my body's still asleep, right? And I know that I'm waking up because I can sense the room around me. And it was just my spirit guides waking me up because they're trying to warn me that spirits are trying to approach me and my family. And I would warn them if they don't back up that they were going to get eaten and or they're going to get neutralized. And so I soothe myself, go back to sleep, but every night I would always wake up and have almost a sleep paralysis type moment. And that was the first time that's ever happened to me. And again, this hotel.
Did you have any dreams when we stayed at Cavella Point?
Uh, no, I did not.
So I guess it's not all hotels.
That hotel had
Majority.
Holy Spirits or something.
You did. You said you felt so peaceful there.
It was so peaceful. I love the energy there. I will go back there in a heartbeat. It looked like a place that would be severely haunted, like so haunted you don't want to sleep there.
Yeah, like an old military base turned into a hotel is the least haunted place that we've stayed at.
I wouldn't say it's the least haunted, but it has such healing energy. Well, it matched my energy to where it was very healing for me, and I felt very rejuvenated at Cavella Point.
Yeah.
But
the only time you didn't feel that is when he was driving us through, telling us what things were, and he was like, "That's the hospital," and you're like, "We don't go to the hospital."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't even drive by the hospital.
Yeah, I mean,
I was ready. I was ready to go explore the hospital. And you were like,
"No, no, absolutely not." Yeah, no. Why? Okay. Anyways. Okay, so the next type of dreams that I would get is these test dreams, and this is well after I've already risen, and so I would often get dreams about sneaking into these buildings, and I don't know what the heck I'm retrieving, but I just know I'm not supposed to get caught, and I'm supposed to be very sly and sneaky, and I'm supposed to retrieve an item, and sometimes out of like the 3 or 4, maybe 5, a handful of time that I've had these dreams, I've only got the actual item like I think once. My spirit guides are telling me twice, but I only recall one time. But I was like, why the heck why do I keep dreaming of like retrieving things? And then it hit me like a ton of brick that I realized that it was my spirit guides trying to teach me how to soul retrieve. You know, when spirits go missing or they get taken away by force or, they just wander away. It was my training of how to retrieve those spirits. And those item would be the spirit. And
I guess you passed enough times to be able to retrieve your own spirit.
Yeah, I did. Well, I didn't really have to sneak because she was out in the open. But little did she know she was being hunted. Anyways, and then I would also get test dreams of revisiting, having like past lovers, like my first boyfriend, my first boyfriend, who's obviously an ex. He came into my dream, and that was, I feel like, the first love of my life, and so I have a pretty deep tie with him when I was still a child, like teenager. When I say child, I mean like teenager. And so in this dream, my spirit guides, they were trying to see if I've already cleanly moved on from this person. And I did. I saw him and he was telling me how much he missed me and how he reminisced about the time we've had together. And I just literally looked at him and I told him that I appreciated him for the times that we spent together, what we've learned and what we've gained through each other, what we taught each other. And I was just really thankful for our paths crossing, and that I was really happy with where I'm at, and I've already moved on, and I hope he moves on too, and wish him well. And I gave him a hug, and then I went back to my aunties and my mom. In a dream, they were my spirit guides, and I was just telling them who I just met, and that I feel really at peace. And that's, one of the other test rooms that your spirit guides might try to, just to kind of gauge where you are spiritually and emotionally with a certain person or certain events, right? And because some events or person that you are still heavily impacted by, they can cause you to have lower vibrational energy that can impact your journey. And so it's really important to do a stress test. I understand why they did that, because it was a really important stress test to see where I am with my healing and where I am.
Yeah.
They would also test me in being in really high conflict situation of people like my mother-in-law trying to put me in a pushing the moment where you have to do what she says. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and I would just endure through with doing what I need to at that moment to survive. And my spirit guides, they would tell me, like, why are you doing that when it's not good for you, or um, it's not healthy? And I would just tell them that I am still a person who has to live, so I have to do this, but it doesn't mean that my spirit is low. It's what I have to do. And so you'll get a lot of test dreams to test your resiliency. um, and then
The
now
endless amount.
and now I am getting test dreams of trying to learn to prep myself to do ceremonies for people. So I had a dream of doing a ceremony for Scott.
It's coming. It's coming.
And the temporary altar was down here in this room, and I was like prepping it, and I was like, wait, why is there a temporary altar here when my shrine's just upstairs? Like, would I just go use that one? And then I'm like trying to go outside this office door to go talk to my teacher, because apparently my teacher was in that dream and she was talking with other beautiful gals. But I couldn't get a chance to talk to her because she was just busy talking to other people. And so I'm just like, this is some BS. Like, I'm just gonna put away that altar and go use my actual altar. Like, and so, but yeah, sorry guys, prepping me to do ceremonies for other. And they also made, in that dream, I was doing a ceremony for this. And I don't know if this is a premonition yet or not.
To be determined. We'll get back to you in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. But I was doing a ceremony for another shaman. It's a man who's bald. Or he doesn't have hair. I don't know. But it's a shaman. And it's a male. He's somewhat tall, like maybe shoulder like this guy. Or like, yay here. And he was so busy that he couldn't attend his own ceremony. And I'm like vying the bench and the animal, but I'm like, hey, where's my client? And I was like, why is he still over there doing ceremony for someone else? And then as I said that, a shirt appeared on my bench, and I was like, okay, that works. So I continued by. And I remembered I was watching this because I love watching other content creator who are shamans as well. And I love that other shamans are putting out their experience. But these are one of the many senior, well-seasoned master shamans who are sharing their experiences. And she was on her bench and she had a umbrella on her back. And I'm like, that's bizarre. Why does she have an umbrella on her back? And so I was just kind of thinking that to myself. But in this dream, back to this dream where I'm doing a ceremony for this male shaman, I had carried also an umbrella on my back. And when I had finished the ceremony, I held the umbrella and it was tied with a string, and I presented to the client. I was like, here you go. The umbrella was like a package, and inside was a spirit that I had successfully retrieved, and I'm giving it to him. And so what I'm sharing is that my spirit guides, they were trying to explain to me what that umbrella meant. And I'm not quite sure if that is what it actually means. I have to fact check with my seafood. And this is what I'm talking about. Like these dreams, it's really awesome for you to fact check, or not even fact check, I should say, but just kind of
be curious about it.
Yeah, be curious and pick your seafood's brain about like what that could mean and whatnot. But anyways, in that dream, that's what the umbrella meant, was a package to hold his vessel, a vessel to hold his spirit, to give it to him.
Since he wasn't
to receive
there, because it was just his clothes.
No, it was just his spirit that was inside the umbrella.
Yeah.
It's not about his shirt or anything.
Oh, okay. So it didn't have anything to do with him not being there. Oh, okay.
But his shirt needed to be present for me to be even able to touch whatever it is that I needed to retrieve for him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a premonition dream yet or not, but I'm just taking it as my spirit guides are prepping me for level 2.
I've been doing a lot of prepping lately.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to demonic dreams. Oh my gosh. And I was told by my seafood that I'm going to receive a lot of demonic dreams, and that's because we're demon slayers. I know, it's not the anime demon slayers. We're demon slayers. And so I would dream of so I was in a dream, and we lived in a house, and our neighbors was being attacked by a demon, and I was like telling them, come over here. They were seeking refuge in our house, and that demon is rummaging through their house. Like you can hear the screeching and just a lot of chaos going in their homes. You can see it through the windows. And so I'm like trying to seal my any like doors or openings and windows, and I realized, and I successfully did so, but there was a side door to the garage that I forgot to close and seal. And so I'm like, crud. So I quickly run out through the front door and I go to that side door. And as I'm running over there, the demon is like flying like a bullet train to me. And so as soon as I like hit inside the door and I sealed it, it appeared right there in front of my face, and it was like just staring at me. And this demonic presence, it didn't have a form. It was like this black misty cloud, and it had golden eyes that was just glowing, and you can feel so much hatred, and it was just very negative. And it was just very upset that I had protected that family. But I'm just like, you can't get them. And so that was the end of that dream. And then, there was that dream that I shared with you guys about in my previous last 2 videos, where a demon gave me a gift of that cephalopod, and what happened with that. If not, you can go check out that video, and I will link it up there. But I also had more type of like, it's just a lot of slang. And there was, when I first raised, it was like within, I think, a month of me raising, that I had a dream, a huge celebration of my family doing a feast for me. And then I saw a vision of a black orb just going through the rooms and just kind of, swimming around. And I could hear it at the thinking, and it's saying, there's a new shaman. Who is this new shaman? Like, it's trying to come and test me. And so it appears in my vicinity, and I'm inside this kitchen living room type of situation, and it's hiding in the corner and it's watching me, and I know it's watching me and I can feel its presence, but everyone's oblivious to it. So I go and approach it with, I have my shaman sword and whatnot, and I demanded to like leave, and it's not leaving, and then it's trying to like possess objects, and I'm like just slashing this object, and it just keeps jumping from one thing to another, and the next thing you know, it goes and jumps into a chandelier, and I like swing it, and the chandelier falls, and then it exit out from the chandelier, and it takes up the form that looks like my son. And as soon as it tries to imitate my son, um, I don't. This my spirit guides. Okay, it grabbed the thing on the neck that's trying to imitate my son, and I can't really explain so much in detail, you guys, because YouTube. Maybe one day if I have like a Patreon or something where I don't give a rat's patootie about getting demonetized in the future or something, I'll show the full story.
Yeah.
But
go rated R there.
Yeah, pretty much, because a lot of these encounters with demons, it does get very immature. It really does.
So they're very bloody or very sexual.
Yeah, it's very primitive, very primitive. And so, long story short, I neutralized the demon, and I took its bits and shoved it in a cave. And so now we're going to move on to the type of abilities that I would have as a shaman. And these are just some of the dreams. And one of them was I was on a highway and there was a sinkhole, but I flew away from the sinkhole and I didn't fall in with my car. And then in another dream, I was riding a skateboard. I do not know how to ride skateboards, but in this dream I did, and I was going really fast. And I was like curving around curbs and going through corners just fine, and it was really fun. And so another type of dream, by the way, those flying and those speed, those are type of dreams that kind of gives you a hint of maybe what you might be writing in the spirit world if you're a shaman, and it gives you like the sensation.
So the role or the skateboard one was them prepping you for how fast you're going to be going.
Yes.
In the spirit realm.
Yes.
And the sinkhole was them showing that that you could fly without the help of something else.
Essentially.
Okay.
And then I also, of course, fought more type of demonic beings, and I was introduced to the different types of abilities that I possess. So some of them are magic abilities, like wielding fire, being able to look through with just you see how we see things, and it's solid, right? But in part of my ability is that I can see through, like on a molecular level, and I can find whatever's hiding. Like there's no room to hide. If they have any energy of any sort of molecular form, I was going to find them, and I had the ability to capture them, no matter how small they made themselves or how well they've hidden. I could see them and I could get them. And then yeah, it's just a whole lot of teaching me, showing me how to capture things. And yeah,
I remember the one that you were talking about, the tightening rings.
Yeah, that was that was part of the one where I saw them
from a molecular level.
Yeah, molecular level, and I started chanting. Like monks, they chant. I was chanting similar to that, and these golden rings came out, and it captured. I don't know.
It's pretty cool. Was I using the name when that was happening, or no? That was a dream, right?
Yeah, this is a dream.
My bad.
Yeah, this is a dream. But yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. But anyways.
No, I thought it was in one of your just regular sessions where you're practicing. And I was like, Did it catch it when I do the zinning?
No, so usually whenever I have you throw the zinning, it's when I'm doing like
yeah, when you're killing something.
Yes.
Or quack.
Yes. It's when I'm euthanizing something, and so I need to time it perfectly with him to do it, because it doesn't. It's just a scratch. It doesn't hold any value or meat, if that makes sense. And definitely got to confirm with horns, but everyone's experience is very different. Okay, don't take what I'm doing as something that you have to follow in your own spiritual journey. You follow what your spirit guides are telling you and what your Sifu is telling you. I'm just sharing what I am interpreting in my own journey.
So could you use those rings if you wanted to in a session? Like, have you ever tried to use it outside of that dream? The tightening rings.
What?
Yeah, because you said it's like an ability, right?
Oh, I've actually never tried using that yet. It was just that dream.
It was just the dream. So you haven't tried actively using it, like using that ability?
No, it hasn't unlocked for me, but it showed me.
It's not an option.
It showed me in the dream that it could be an option in the future. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But again, I'm still in my very much exploration safe part as a level 1. I'm not supposed to do anything superly strenuous. I'm not supposed to travel very far in the spirit world. I'm still doing very much things that are elementary. Okay. And so that will conclude my dreams.
From what we know so far about dreams.
From what we know so far. And I hope that what I shared with you, it's at least somewhat entertaining for you, and hopefully you got a good laugh out of it, or it's maybe you might have took something away and understood, and how it can help you interpret your own dreams and go seek shamanic services from your local shaman.
Whoever you trust.
Yeah. Definitely go to a shaman you trust. But but yes, that is it for us this week, and we will see you in the next video.
Yes. Take care.
Bye.